The probable cause affidavit left a lot of room for speculation. The statements made by one of the surviving roommates, Dylan, left a lot of people confused and wondering why Dylan never called the police. A lot of people defend Dylan and make excuses for her behavior, providing reasons why she may not have called them or why she waited 8 hours to call. The fact is that she never called. The 911 call was made by someone else, someone who did not even live in that house, and we will get to that in this video. But there are also a lot of people who feel like Dylan may have been involved, or possibly that she just knew Bryan. Maybe she let him in. Maybe she gave him information. Who knows? But it's split about down the middle, with half thinking she's innocent and half thinking she has guilt of some sort. So, breaking news that I found out today. Some of the people who are questioning Dylan's behaviors that day are actually Ethan Chapin's mother and father. Let's get right into that. So this was actually a Reddit post that has supposedly been verified to be Ethan's sister-in-law. She says that allegedly Dylan called all of the girls in the house after she heard the crying and after the screaming stopped, and no one answered the phone, and she still did not call the police. And Ethan's sister-in-law says that she needs to explain herself. Also, on another post, she says the 911 caller was the friend who went in because Dylan called him to come over there because she was scared from what she had heard in the night. He went to Xana and Ethan's room first, and then he called 911. Why didn't Dylan or Bethany call the police is the question. They never called the police. Ethan's sister-in-law is questioning this, as so am I, and half of the viewers of this case also. It makes no sense. And I'll tell you a couple of things that make no sense. Okay, so there were no signs of forced entry, and the police are speculating that Bryan entered through the kitchen sliding glass door. However, there are no facts to support Bryan entering that sliding glass door. Also, if you recall, there was a bedroom with a screen missing. That bedroom actually belonged to Dylan. That's Dylan's room. If you take a look in the picture, you will see a cinder block under that window, as if somebody was crawling in and out of that window. Why? Did Dylan allow the killer to enter through her bedroom window and wait there for those people to come home and go to bed? Did the investigators even fingerprint that window? Did they investigate that possibility? Or did they automatically just rule it out and not even look at the window, since they came straight out the next day or so and said that the survivors were not involved? Keep in mind, we are supposed to believe that Bryan entered the kitchen sliding glass door and walked straight past Dylan's bedroom, which was the first bedroom that he come to, and went to one of the other rooms because he knew exactly which room to go to, exactly what room to go to next, and exactly what rooms not to go to. Well, if that don't raise a red flag, I just don't know what else does. How did he know exactly what rooms these victims would be in? How did he know what rooms not to even open the door to? And the last couple of things that I'm going to say about this are, if you've ever been around a deceased person, you know that it does not take very long at all for the remains to start smelling very, very bad. Okay? On top of all of the blood that was in this home, blood smells very strong also. So you've got the smell of blood, the smell of death encompassing this home, right? That smell would have taken over. There's no way, even if a person did not know what happened, there's no way they would not smell those two smells. Now, common sense. If you smell something like that in your home, you are naturally going to find the source of the smell. Have you ever had a dead rat in your house? Didn't you go find the smell if you did to get rid of it? Of course you did. So I cannot buy that Dylan didn't know these people were passed away. Also, according to the PCA, when the officer entered the home from the hallway, he was able to see Xana's or Ethan, one of the two. He was able to see one of the victims from the hallway, which means the door was opened. All right, so we don't know for sure if it got opened later or if it was opened all night. But my guess, it was probably left open. I doubt very seriously that Bryan shut the door behind him. I just don't see that happening. That would be more fingerprints for him to leave behind. I don't think he's that stupid. I don't believe that the door was shut. So if she stepped out of her bedroom and into the living room at any time during that 8 hours, she had to see at least one of those people, and she had to see the blood. Come on, use common sense. And then it's now been discovered that she's not even the one that called 911. She never called 911. Ever. Instead, she called a friend over, or some friends, and one of those people called 911. Now, we haven't heard much about Bethany. That's kind of strange. But Bethany may actually be the one who is the confidential informant, which would explain why we have not heard from her. She would not be able to make statements publicly, and they will not release her statements if they are using her for an informant, because it would damage her testimony and her credibility in court. So if we use a little bit of common sense here, and I did work for a lawyer for a few years out of my life, so I do have a little bit of knowledge and experience in the subject matter. In my opinion, I believe Bethany is going to end up being the confidential informant. I believe Bryan may be actually the killer. I don't know for sure though, but I believe if he is, that he definitely had help, whether it was a driver, maybe that was somebody else driving his car, or someone inside the home who gave him information and possibly even hired him to do the job. There is motive. We'll talk about that later. Jealousy is a big motive. And I think that's what they're putting on Bryan. Like, he didn't like that the girls had such a good life. Well, that could have been anybody. It could have been somebody living in the house that didn't like that they had such a good life. You know, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that it's a possibility. And it's not looking good. So I believe when the trial comes that a lot of people are going to be very, very surprised. And I also believe that the police are not putting out this information because they're holding it tight to their vest. They're not going to show all their cards to the public. But just sit back and watch. You're going to see. But use your common sense. And this video is not intended to victim shame. And I don't want anybody giving Dylan any hate because I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I'm just stating my opinion and my feelings that I cannot understand her behaviors and that some things look really off to me. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And then, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I'm not telling you have to agree with me. And you're welcome to leave your opinions in the comments as long as they are respectful. So that's all I'm going to say for now. And thank you all for watching and being here. I just needed to get that off of my chest. See you next time.